quit a six-figure sales job to take half the pay, and this is why I did it. On paper, I was doing great. Big checks, big commissions, having a lot of fun, a lot of drinks, and underneath it all, I was burning myself alive. I was waking up at 3:45, grinding 10 to 12-hour days, and then I would wake up and do it the next day. The same thing the next day. You'd make your 75 cold calls, and then the next day you'd be making another 75 cold calls. It just didn't end. You were on a treadmill. Deep down, I knew I wasn't meant to be an employee forever. I've loved real estate since I was little. Boring businesses, YouTube, all these different assets I've always been interested in. But I started to get the golden handcuffs. The more money I made, the more I would spend. And I wasn't always spending on assets, I was spending on liabilities too. And it just started to inflate my lifestyle. And it felt like I was on a treadmill. It just, you know, it was never enough money, I guess. Now, if I was going to make a move, I didn't want it to be for another job. I didn't want it to be another sales job. I'd done that before, and it just leads you down the same road, burnout and just emptiness, honestly, for me. So I made sure to find something that was going to be an experience, something that I learned from and gained skills from that would pay off forever. So I moved into property management in a leadership development program that would train me to be a really good real estate operator and eventually get to a point where I was managing assets, helping with investment decisions. But it meant I had to take half the pay. I had to go back, basically become a recent college grad because that's what they targeted, and make entry level salary so I could learn the skills I wanted to learn to buy assets later. It isn't comfortable. It wasn't comfortable, and it was a really tough decision to make, going from the whole golden handcuffs to, you know, income level that I haven't even been at since graduating college. So it was painful at first, but there were a couple things I did to make it easier. You watch some of my other videos. I moved into an RV to help bring my burn rate down, and did some other things. Bought a vending route back in Austin, or built one up. So I started the job, and I was working at the toughest property in the portfolio in Austin, and there were a lot of things that were real operational scars that I had to learn early on. We had a shooting my second week working there. We had rats, roaches, pretty much anything you could think of in terms of bad property conditions. It was a C to D class property, and not the greatest part of town. And it was just a lot to learn, a lot of issues dealing with, a lot of delinquencies, evictions, and that was all within my first month. And after that first month, the CEO and the COO pulled me into a strategic projects role to help them out on some of the corporate side. And so they pulled me away from the on-site, and they put me into a remote role, basically overseeing some different projects they have, including some tech projects. And I've actually been working there for a couple months now on the sales side, but even that wasn't developing the skills that I wanted to learn. So I recently told the leadership that I want to go back on site. And to most people, including my family, they think that's crazy because, they put me on the track to become an executive, basically. And I said, no, I want to go back and I want to be on site so I can learn the skills, because I don't want to be working for somebody else forever. I don't want to be an employee forever. I'm going to get the golden handcuffs again if I go that route. I want to be on site learning the nitty gritty details of what it takes to run a property. And it's not glamorous, it's not flashy, it's not going to increase my status or anything like that. It's just going to develop the foundational skills to operate real estate. And that's what I want. That's what I came here for. So that's what I'm going to go back into. So it's a lot of tough decisions, a lot of things that, a lot of times where I had to question myself and see if I'm actually going on the path that I want to go on. But I just think once you're in alignment, it's hard to say what it's like being in alignment, because I mean, it's really the first time I've been in alignment in my career, but it's just, you get energy from your work rather than feel like it's draining you. And for the longest time in sales, it just felt like it was draining me. So I just recommend it to anybody. If you're scared of taking that chance and going down the path you actually want to go on, just take a chance, because you never know where it's going to lead you. And it's just, the energy is abundant whenever you're on your path, versus when you don't like what you do, it's hard to go to work. And I've seen that firsthand. So yeah, that's really all I have for you all in today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.